General satisfaction pudding. Ever heard of it? No, me neither. This recipe appears in a Scottish cookbook from the 1910s, tucked away as if anyone should know what a general satisfaction pudding should be. And honestly, the confidence is admirable. At first glance, it looks like a cross between a queen of puddings, a simplified trifle, and a lemon meringue pie, a sort of greatest hits pudding, which I suppose would bring general satisfaction, but its roots go back further. Once sugar became more widely available in the Georgian era, British puddings transformed. What started as practical, thrifty dishes suddenly had access to sweetness, and the nation embraced it wholeheartedly. Then came the Victorians, industrialisation, cheaper ingredients, and a national obsession with puddings that were taller, sweeter, and more elaborate than ever before. This was the golden age of the dessert, and somewhere in that swirl of invention, this little recipe emerged, promising at first, and at the very least a baseline level of satisfaction. So today we're making it. What you need is some short crust pastry. You can make it yourself if you wish, but I'm being a bit lazy today. You need some eggs, some margarine or butter, some sugar, some self-raising flour or plain flour, and some baking powder, jam, the jam that you like, milk. We've got some alcohol here. This is a Madeira, a sweet kind of, a bit like a sherry. The recipe says to use sherry, but I haven't got any, so I'm using this. Some vanilla, full fat milk, and the rice is for baking blind, and some cherries, which are optional. We're going to start by lining our pie dish with our short crust pastry. Now, I've bought my short crust pastry because life's a bit short on time at the minute, and well, couldn't be bothered. But if you want to go ahead and make your own pastry, there is a recipe for that, which I'll link down below for you and try and get it up here for you if I can. Roll it, just check how thick it is really. It should be all right. If you need to use a rolling pin to thin it out a bit, that's fine. I've got a pie liner here, one of these things, I don't know if you can see it. I've got that because we're going to be baking our crust blind. So put your oven onto gas mark 4. I'll put the conversions on the side for you. And then we're going to take our pastry dish. It needs to be a little bit wider by the looks of it. Self-raising flour. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on so that my rolling pin doesn't stick. I'm going to shove it that way a bit. Make it a little bit wider. The big thing is with this, you don't really need to worry too much. Simply because you can patch it because it's not going to be seen. I'm going to take some of my spread here, my stork margarine. Yes, I know, I use stork. It's vegan, therefore easier to deal with. Some people don't like it. If you don't like it, use butter, it's fine. Use what you like. And give it a good smattering of spread. And I like now with my pies to give a little bit of flour in the bottom, with the vain hope it will stop it sticking. And I say it's vain because it is vain. Right, I'm going to bring it into the middle as best I can, because we're going to pop it into our pie dish. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know full well I am not very good at this. Can't be good at everything, eh? So a bit of flour on it. Pick it up gently and pop it into your pie dish. It makes it easier to actually fill the edges of your pie dish. So out it comes, a little bit at a time. Don't overdo it, because we don't want to rip it if we can help it. It's not a problem if you do, but if you can help it, try not to rip it. And just lift the edge and push it in gently with your hand. There's two ways of doing this now. You can either leave it as is, which is a good idea as well, or you can trim it now. It's up to you. So I'm going to pop in this. Taking some old rice. I've got brown rice here because nobody in our family likes brown rice. Pop it in. I don't have any baking beads. If you've got baking beads, use them. Give it a little push down in the corners so you can get it right in. I'm going to trim it around the rim. So taking your knife on an angle, just go around. It's an art form in itself doing this. Now, as you can see, there's a couple of places where it is still a little light on the pastry. So I'm going to take, a little bit of pastry and just patch that in for now. Just roll the edge and it should hopefully fit. There you go. I'm going to pop this in the fridge for about 20 minutes while the oven heats up, just for it to set a bit more because it is quite soft at this present time. So the next part of this recipe is to make a sponge cake. Now you can buy one, it's not an issue. Go ahead and do that. It'll make it easier for you. But I'm going to make a quick one because it doesn't take long. And my pastry's in the oven cooking, so I might as well make one. So I've got 4 ounces of margarine or butter, whichever your heart desires. 4 ounces of caster sugar. 4 ounces of self-raising flour and 2 large eggs. And that is basically my sponge mixture. The only addition I'm going to make is a bit of vanilla essence. Now, I'm going to start creaming my mixture until it's nice, light and fluffy, which you don't need to see, you know how to do it. I'll show you anyway. It is push your spoon against some nice soft margarine or butter. Make sure it's at room temperature. It won't work if it's not at room temperature. You'll be working forever. It will stick to the spoon, yes, but keep going. Just keep pushing and prodding and pushing and prodding. Have a spatula on hand, one of these things. You need it just to push everything off the spoon. I maybe made a rookie error using this spoon actually, to be fair, because it's got holes in it. Why did I choose that one? Can somebody tell me? No, me neither. Oh, what a life. Why did I do that? Dozy mare. Never mind. We all make mistakes. Generally a wooden spoon, because metal spoons carry they seem to impart a slight tang to things. I don't know why, but they do. If anybody knows the science behind that one, then please do leave a comment below. However, yes, keep pushing, push and pull, and turn your bowl while you're doing it. Makes all the difference. You could use a hand whisk if you so wish, but I could do with the exercise. Sugar and butter have been creamed and it goes off the spoon with 1 wee tap, so we're on it. To this I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract, which you can't see there, but believe me. And I'm going to mix that in slowly. That'll loosen it up a bit more. Now then, taking your 2 eggs, we want to give them a whisk and then pop a little bit in and then pop a little bit of your flour in. Or you can do all the eggs together if you so wish, if you're using a hand whisk, but I find if you're doing it by hand, sometimes it's just a bit easier doing it like this. Some more in. A bit more flour. And just keep going until you've got all your eggs and your flour gently combined. I'm going to pop it into my lined tray here, my lined baking tray. I'm going to bake this in the oven for approximately 20 minutes again. Gas mark for 20 minutes. Spread it out. Try not to move the base. I've put a base in the bottom of here so that I don't have any issues with it releasing really. And I've put some fat and flour around the edge to ensure that it releases basically. Once your pie casing has come out the oven, mine took about 20 minutes. It could take up to 25 depending on how you want it, but this is cooked just nicely at the moment. So I'm going to put in it, now that it's cooled, some jam. Now the recipe doesn't specify what jam to use, so I'm going to be using Seedler's raspberry. You could use strawberry, you could use lemon curd, you could use whatever you want to your satisfaction. So I'm going to put a generous dollop in the bottom of here and spread it around. And now that my sponge has come out the oven, it was in for 25 minutes rather than 20. It must be something to do with my oven. I'm going to remove the liner. See how easy that came out, by the way. I'm impressed. I am. Take the liner off because we don't want that bit. Ooh, no. There we go. And we're going to place it in the base. Look at that. You'd think it was done on purpose, wouldn't you? Of course it is. And then we're going to drizzle over the top, as it suggests, some alcohol. Now I've got Madeira, which is quite a sweet little number. Now you can choose whatever you want. It doesn't have to be Madeira wine. You could use sherry if you wanted to use that, brandy, whiskey. But if you don't want to go down the alcohol route, that's fine. Don't use it. You could use the sponge just as it is, plain vanilla, or you could put some lemon juice in a bowl and sprinkle in some sugar, give it a good mix, and then like a syrup, like a lemon drizzle, pop that over it and let that soak in. It's up to you. You could do the same with orange as well. That would be nice. Anyway, for now I'm following the recipe and just put in a few tablespoons of this while it's still slightly warm. There doesn't have to be a lot. That's possibly not even that much actually. I haven't even used a fraction of this. And this gives you trifle vibes, British trifle vibes. Okay, we're going to put that to one side while we do the next bit. And that is the custard. Because of course every trifle has a custard. So now we need to make our custard. I'm going to separate our eggs ready for doing our custard. And for our custard we need 1 whole egg, which is that one, and an egg yolk. So we need to keep the egg white because we're going to be using that to top our cake with, which was quite common back in the Victorian era. So that's the egg yolk, there we go, and that's our egg white. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of sugar into the eggs. So that's 1. I'm going to give it a light whisk. And we're going to put that to one side. Add a little bit of heat to your milk. And we're going to heat it gently on low. This is full fat milk and there's half a pint there. We don't want it to boil, we just want it to warm through gently. There is some steam coming off my milk now, so I'm going to take it off the heat and add it to my sugar and egg mixture very slowly, whisking all the time. We don't want to scramble the eggs, which is what will happen if we put them all in together. So just little by little. If you can drizzle it in, that's fine. And then when you get to this stage, you can go to it. There we go. give it a little whisk, and then we're going to put all of that into our pan. And keep going, keep stirring this. Put it on a very low heat. We don't want it on a high heat because we're going to want it to thicken. So keep stirring, we don't want it to stick to the bottom. The author of this recipe actually states, on no account shall you let this boil. If you do, your eggs will curdle. So here it is thickening up. It hasn't boiled yet, thankfully, and so far no lumps. This has been going for about 10 minutes, so be warned, it takes a bit of time. I was beginning to think it wasn't going to happen. It can go too far and curdle. Or if you don't take it far enough, it'll go right through your sponge, which is not what we want. So this is my custard, and I'm just going to show you by putting a spoon in and putting that through that it is ready. I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla in it, just a little bit, take off the eggy taste. I think we don't want an eggy taste. That's one thing we do not want. Give it a good mix. While I'm waiting for my custard to cool down here, I'm going to whisk up my egg white. Okay. Shouldn't take long to do this bit. Get that in there. Okay, as it's holding its shape, I'm going to put in there a tablespoon of caster sugar, a little bit at a time, so that it doesn't overpower it. Put some more in. Go. Straight. Hoorah. While that cools down, I'm going to tip it over here and see what happens. So on top of it, it said, so on top of it goes. And we're going to spread it out. Right, I'm going to let it get a crust on it, on the top of the egg. And then I'm going to put the egg white on. Now that my custard has cooled down on top of my cake here, I'm going to pop on the meringue. On it goes. Hopefully it'll be okay. I don't think there's enough meringue here, you know. I would have said 2, but obviously they did more in them days than we do now. So what I'm going to do is just a light covering. In my opinion, that needs another 2. And we'll go with what we've got. If you're doing this, do more eggs than 2. You need more than, I would say, at least 2 egg whites, if not 3. And I'm going to sprinkle some demerara sugar on the top. I'm going to leave off the cherries. I'm going to pop it back into the oven until it's slightly crispy on the top. General satisfaction pudding. Well, is it? Well, let's find out. So here it is. See it? Let's try it. First of all, it's very moist. It's lovely. Nice and light, actually. Really, actually, that bit of alcohol actually helps it. Keeps it moist. The jam really helps to keep it a little bit less sweet. The custard does remind me of trifle. And it's really, really tasty. General satisfaction is guaranteed. So that's the general satisfaction pudding. Was it general satisfaction for you? It gave me a bit of satisfaction, I've got to be honest. If you want to try it out, take a photo, upload it to my social media. You'll find the links down below for those. However, for this time though, I want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.